So today we are sitting down with the lovely Toya from Restless Vintage, and she is going to be spilling the tea on all things vintage reselling. Tell us a bit about yourself. How did you get into the industry? How long have you been in the industry?
So I've been selling vintage for over 10 years, initially starting at Archive and progressing to be their regional manager. Basically learning everything I know from Angie. And then I fell pregnant, went on maternity leave, and then decided, you know what, maybe I can do this for myself. And then I created Restless Vintage as a way so I could stay home with my son, but still do everything that I love. And I've still got to keep my mentorship with Angie, which has been amazing. So now I get to do all this cool stuff as well.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. And what would you say made you fall in love with vintage?
I feel like when I fell in love with it, I didn't really realize it was vintage at the time, just back, in our day. But I just love the uniqueness of it, the quality, knowing that, you can do anything with it and most of the time it will always last. And just the fun and the individuality of it. Like every piece is different. You're not buying it to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
You're buying it because that calls to you, that has a story, and it becomes like your life.
Yeah.
It will stay with you forever.
You've been in the industry for a while now. What would you say is the most noticeable change or things that you're seeing from then compared to now?
I think a huge thing is the impact of social media on people's ability to find their own style. We are very heavy set on just what is trending. So whatever is trending on social media, that is usually what is trending behind the scenes.
Yes.
And especially with vintage, where I think the whole goal is to not be following trends, we are very much in a scene where to survive or to create an income from it, you kind of do have to follow trends unless you know what you're talking about to be able to sell the other aspects of vintage.
Yes, absolutely. And what would you say that you love to sell? Like what lights you up when you're sourcing and then, selling?
Statement pieces. And I know the stuff that I sell is not for everyone, but I think when it comes to vintage, like the whole point is to buy something that's different, like that is unique. But I grew up being very influenced by the 80s. So just bold statement prints from the 80s, which you would find really interesting because I pretty much only wear black now. Makes no sense. But I love collecting. I'm heavy on the 90s, like that iconic 90s silhouette, the satins, the prints, like the ruffle, like just all the stuff about that. And then obviously early Y2K because that's where we're rolling into. But if I could go back and only choose something, it would be just like late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Like that is fun.
90s is where it's at for me. And speaking of Y2K, because we're a little bit older, on the older side, growing up wearing, these sort of styles that we are starting to see really popping off at the moment. How do you feel about that, being a little bit older, having grown up in these years?
It is the weirdest feeling selling. I graduated high school in 2004. So to me, 2005, 2006 was like me finding my own style. And everything that they're wearing now is everything that once that trend was over, I could not wait to never wear low rise again. And the fact that that is such a heavy thing at the moment, like low rise and this McBling era, it kind of cringes me, it gives me a bit of the ick because I grew up in that.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go back to that. But obviously we've got to follow the trends and what people want.
Yeah, to be successful in your business, right? How do you find that battle? Inside your business, are you still catering to that scene? Are you trying to educate people a little bit more?
I think, obviously you've got to put dribs and drabs of what is actually selling. You need to bring all walks of life into your racks. So there's a bit of everything that's really good. But at the same time, I feel like you've still got to keep to what works for you, what your passion is, what excites you, what brought you into that. Because as vintage evolves and trends start to change, if you are heavy on that McBling, how are you going to grow? How are you going to progress when things change? And when vintage changes, it's very drastically.
Yes.
Like how can we go from super baggy pants to skinny jeans, which will come soon?
Yeah.
It's a massive jump.
Yeah.
And it would be very hard to kind of change your style if that is what you are very much known for,
Yeah.
that style or that era or that moment.
Yeah, awesome. I want to talk a little bit more about the community. What's the community like up in Brisbane?
Honestly, amazing. I think I would not have done so well if there wasn't such a beautiful vintage scene. And as much as people think it is like competition, if we all don't work together, we're not going to work and we're not going to be able to grow. But the market scene is phenomenal. There is a huge scene, and it's something that when I was kind of contemplating what I wanted to do and how I was going to grow my business, I didn't know much about the market scene. And you're very, I guess, reluctant to take your steps into it because you don't know what it's going to be like. But once you're there, like, there is so much opportunity, and it's just making sure you obviously put yourself out there. But there is so much opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's nice to hear that we've got a really nice little community up there. Let's bring it back to a bit more individualized in your own business. What would you say some of the challenges are for you in running Restless Vintage? And how you overcome them?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges, I think, with growth is being able to source stock that works for you and at the capacity that you need it, because you can only grow if your stock can grow with you.
Yes.
So that's one of my biggest challenges. And we live in such a, like, as much as we want to support each other, everyone keeps their suppliers very under wrap, which is so fair. It makes so much sense because you want to be the one making the money.
Yes.
But at the same time, I feel like once you work out those logistics, like, that challenge becomes a little bit easier. But that's the biggest challenge of growing a business is just being able to source your stock. Absolutely. At capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. And where's your vision for Restless? Where are you taking this baby?
Where am I taking it?
Or are you just happy, like, in this moment?
Honestly,
that's okay too.
I'm a stay-at-home mum, so the whole goal of this was just to be able to create an income doing what I love, so I can have that freedom to do what I want, like, at home with my son.
Absolutely.
But to be in a position now where my business has actually grown more than what I ever anticipated. Like, the goal, honestly, for me would be to be online based. I would love to be fully online, and then obviously do markets because I love the personal aspect. I love being able to talk to people and explain to people why they're buying this thing.
Yes.
Like, there's a story to it, not just what's on the rack.
Exactly. That's it. And that's why I love that about vintage, because it's the history, it's the story. It's like, you know, what comes along with this piece, this particular piece, or why you fall in love with something.
And that's what's so fun about markets and being able to talk to people about everything. Whereas compared to a consignment store, like, it's good to have that opportunity to put your stock in a store, but it just takes away the whole value of why I collected this piece, why this piece is priced this much, or what cool aspect, like, what's the feature and benefit of this piece and why you need to have it.
Yeah, that's great. I wanted to ask you as well, if anyone's watching and is thinking about doing something similar, what would be one piece of advice that you would give them?
Honestly, just take the step. I sat for so long just wondering what you could do, but I don't think you know until you do it. It's one of the biggest learn as you go kind of industries, because everything changes so much. You change so much. Like, from the things that I collected at the start are very different to what I'm collecting now. And I think if you don't just take those steps to try, you will never know. So my biggest, just take the step. Just do it. If that's what you want to do, just go. Like, you don't have to learn the logistics first. You just need to put yourself in there. Yeah. And then everything will kind of educate you as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So where could people find you?
So I am usually at all the vintage markets in Brisbane and Gold Coast. Brisbane Vintage Exchange, I'm a permanent stall holder there. I am a consignment stall holder at Memory Lane Marketplace and Memory Lane upstairs, selling my vintage accessories and my clothing. And you can find me on Depop as well.
You. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today, Toya. If you want to go check her out and see where she's headed to next, go and have a look at her socials. Bye.